Hi, Leisha Lou. I listen to the Moody Booty Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Moody Booty Podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Shea, and this is episode 3? I'm pretty sure, right? I hope so. 3 or 4, somewhere around there. Anyways, so this is kind of gonna be like a free podcast. Like I already was pretty much making it like it wasn't scripted is basically what I'm trying to say, but I still in some way had like an idea of what I wanted to talk about, what I wanted to do. And in one of my last podcasts, so not the last podcast, but the podcast before. Oh, so is this the 4th podcast? I think this is the 4th podcast. Okay. It is what it is. Okay. So, the second podcast I did advice like I did an I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's one of those days. And I'm not even like intoxicated or anything. I'm just super tired, but I still wanted to be able to podcast with you guys. So, anyways, in my little girl, you're alive. I see a little girl in the back. Little girl is my smallest kitten, you guys, for those who don't know. So all weekend, literally, this little girl has been MIA. And I kept telling my mom, I'm like, can I please check your room? Or can I leave your door open? Because I feel like little girl's in there. And she's like, oh no, she probably jumped off the patio. I was like, I genuinely don't think she would have. Like, her and Trouble have like free, like they just have like the free space to be able to go out into the patio. I always open it for them. And I'm like, she hadn't did it this whole time. I seriously doubt she would have just took it upon herself to just jump off the patio. But my mom was thinking that because she's in heat, that she probably just, took that jump. So I was just like, I really don't think so. I really feel like she's in your room. Like, I know she's not in my room. I know she's not in my bathroom. And I just know that she's not in the living room because I was out there for a lot of the weekend and I didn't see her, and she's literally right here right now. Is my door open? Okay, she can get out. And so anyways, I was like, can I please check? And so today after work, she was basically like, yeah, you can go ahead and check. Sorry, I'm going on like a whole story that wasn't even planned, but anyways, my mom was like, yeah, because I wanted to go under her bed. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to look under her bed just to see, like, okay, if she's really not under your bed, then maybe she jumped. And she was like, okay, yeah, you could look under my bed, but can you wait until I leave? Because she was getting ready for work. And I was like, okay, cool. So, waited some time. She left. And then I literally just now went into her room, flipped over her bed and her, box spring, which was not an easy job, you guys, because that bitch is heavy. But anyways, I flip it over, and so she's at like the front of the bed. And at first I didn't see anything. I was like, oh my God, did she actually get out, But when I flipped it over and I really looked, because it's like dark down there, and then like the bed being in the way of like the ceiling light, so I really couldn't see. But then I started seeing her. And so she like was like looking around like hella quick. And then she tried to like dart out the door, but I closed the door because I didn't want Trouble to get in. Sorry that I'm shaking you. Anyways, so I didn't want Trouble to get in, so I kept the door closed. So when she like ran out of fucking fear, she got scared because the door was closed, and so she like ran right back under the bed, and I was like, fuck. So anyways, I tried to flip it back over to see if I could see her, and I didn't see her. But this time I let the door open, actually. And so when I flipped it open, I was like, bro, I still can't find her. It was getting hot. I was getting sweaty. So I was like, you know what? If she's in here, like, it is what it is. I try to save you. You're just going to be stuck in here again. So, anyways, what happened, so now that I'm here and I'm filming, I'm thinking she's still in my mom's room, and now she's over here. So, there's the tea on that. But, anyways, going back to what I was saying, so my second episode, I did this, like, giving advice, like I'm Dear Abby podcast episode for you guys. So I actually really, really enjoyed it. I don't know if you guys did, and if you are new here, definitely go check that one out. Let me know what you think. But being that I really liked it, I kind of wanted to spend some time in answering or reading a couple more advice columns and then giving advice as if I'm Dear Abby. So right now I'm actually pulling one up. Let's see. There's like so many different like advertisements that I have to click through. Okay, you guys, so I just got rid of all of the advertisements, and I'm about to go ahead and read the first one, but I did want to give like a mini disclaimer. I understand that everybody's comes from different walks of life. The way you handle something or may react to something is completely different than how I may do it. So me kind of giving advice is just simply maybe how I would do something or how I look at things. But you know, to each his own. You're free to do whatever the fuck you want. So this is just me speaking about me for me, and you're watching. So there's that. But anyway, so I'm just gonna go ahead and jump in. So it says, and I quote, so it says, "Dear Abby, I am a mother of 4, soon to be 5 young children. It is exhausting. My husband helps as much as he can, but sometimes we both need a break. My parents often offer to watch the kids. The problem is my husband and I have opposite political and world views. Sometimes they'll say things to my children like, 'You're such a ditzy girl and you better find a good husband.'" Okay, whoa. So I think that she's saying that her parents would say that to her kids. Sometimes they'll say to my children stuff like, "You're such a ditzy girl, you better find a good husband," or call a former president the devil. My husband and I have very different opinions than they do, and we worry about their influence on our children, but mostly sometimes we need their help. I don't think they can keep their opinions to themselves, but I don't want them anywhere near my... Wait. What? I don't think they can keep their opinions to themselves, but I don't want them anywhere near my kids either. Is it hypocritical? Is it hypocritical? Why is that so hard? Is it hypocritical? Is it hypocritical to accept their help? I almost want to read that again because I felt like I don't know. They'll sometimes say da. Basically, she's saying that her and her husband think differently than her parents, and she feels like because her parents think like kind of like differently than they do, they just feel like the kids being around the grandparents, or they just don't want them to have a bad influence on them because of the things that they say, but they still accept their help. That's what it kind of was giving, like, you're still accepting your help when you need it, and is it hypocritical because you don't like how they are, but you still will allow your kids to be around them, almost like when it's convenient for you in a sense. Like, yeah, at the end of the day, it's almost like to each his own. It sucks, but like, do what you do what you can do. Everybody's dealt different cards, and if that is really your guys' only source of babysitters who is maybe within budget or free or just simple trust that you have with your parents, like, okay, they may think this way, but I know that at the end of the day, our kids are in safe hands. They're not being starved or beaten or forgotten about or whatever the case is. But somewhere in here it almost says, I think she says sometimes they need a break. And I guess in a nutshell, without me rambling and keeping it short, I feel like if you feel like your kids' minds would be threatened or tainted in a sense of being placed around an individual who has a negative influence, I don't think you getting a break is good enough. And that's just me being cutthroat because I really don't want to spend too much time just going into hella detail. But I feel like anybody would agree. It's just like anything else. Oh, because you want a break, like you think you could just go to Jamaica and leave your kid. Like, even if her parents were good parents, oh, I feel like I need a break, so let me just go ahead and go on vacation. It's just like, that's not what parenting is, though. And not to say that you don't get a break, but I feel like, or that you don't deserve a break, but I do feel like do that when the time is right. Like, your kids aren't going to be young for forever. She said she has 5 young children, or 5 on the way. You're pregnant. She has 4, but, you know, a 5th one's coming. So you're pregnant. I get it. You need your time. But sometimes, again, you have to kind of like wait until they grow out of that stage where maybe one of them or a couple of them can babysit each other, and then you and your husband can go on outings together. But because there's 2 parents in the home, you guys, I feel like, are perfectly capable of having your alone time, but it just can't be couple time right now. Especially, I do feel like it's almost hypocritical because if you don't like the way your kids are being placed in the hands of your parents, then just don't place them with your parents. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody's going to want to sit there and be like, okay, you watch my kids, but don't do this, and this. Like, at that point, keep your kids. and this is me still siding with you. Like, no, nobody should be talking to a young child and be like, oh, you're ditzy. Like, pour love into your children. Pour love into your grandchildren. Pour love into your nieces, your nephews. Like, you don't sit there and talk to any child like that, let alone a person. But at the same time, you're making that decision to place them in care where shit like that is being talked about. So I feel like you are mainly you guys are the main people in control. And it's just like, have your breaks later. Have one-on-one breaks. Like, okay, husband just got home. I'm going to go ahead and take my 30, 45 hour, 2-hour long break away from the whole household. And then when I come back, either it's his turn or tomorrow we can plan for it to be his turn. But I do feel like there's a quick, easy fix. And the great thing about kids is that they grow up. And so you guys won't need to have, like, you won't be in this place for forever is more of what I mean. So if you also, really quick, for people who are just now tuning in for the first time and didn't watch the second episode, I went ahead and read Abby's response as well. Her response looks just a little lengthy, but if y'all got time, I got time. So let's go ahead and read her response as well. So her response is, Dear Different, because you need their help and they are willing to babysit the grandkids, I don't consider accepting it the least bit of hypocritical. Oh, okay. She said, your children are too young to know who Barack Obama is and are not likely to place any importance on what your parents say about him. I do, however, take issue with planting the idea in a little girl's head that she is ditzy and that her only goal in life should be to marry someone. Your daughter is growing up in a very different world than the one that your mother was raised in. These days, girls are expected to follow their own paths. Get an education, work, and become independent. Marriage, if it happens, comes later. And then she said, you and your husband should tell your children in an age-appropriate way that their grandparents love them but have different ideas about things than mommy and daddy do. Then reinforce that they are smart, honest, good, and any other virtues you would like to implant in their little heads. I'm not gonna lie. Everything that she was saying, like, I still grasped her point, and like the half of like the last bit made a lot more sense, or I comprehended it, but she kind of like threw me for one, like within the first couple of sentences of speaking about like, oh, like basically like your kids are too young to like know who Barack Obama is. Like, what they say about Barack Obama like doesn't really matter, and it's like, that is so not true. Like, people will say it's almost like, oh, like, just because your kid is small, like, oh, like, we could argue around our kid, like, they're fine. Like, no, kids pick up on certain shit. They pick up on how to release anger, how to express happiness, and that's just the minimum. You know what I'm saying? Like, so for you to sit there and talk about it, it's almost like going into, I don't even want to keep giving example after example. I do want to keep these short, but I really didn't like that she said that, because if they spend a lot of time with their grandparents and grow to hear something like this, it will indeed be bedded into them. And that's genuinely how I feel. Period. It's almost like being like, oh, well, sorry, I said I wasn't going to give an example, but I'm going to give one. It's like being around a 2-3-year-old. They don't maybe understand what weight is, but maybe like a 3-year-old, if you're constantly talking about somebody's weight, they may not comprehend it, but then they don't comprehend it in a way where they think it's okay to say because they heard it. And they just simply didn't know, oh, that was a bad thing to say. So if they're going around like, oh, my grandparent talks about so-and-so being fat, but then they're just used to it because they're hearing it, and then they go to a grocery store and they say, oh, such and such is fat. It's like they're just a kid. They didn't grasp it, but they still need to comprehend the importance of, hey, like, we just don't talk like that. And hopefully that example made sense. So yeah, no, I don't, you shouldn't put downs. You shouldn't do put downs no matter who it is, the status, career, or anything like that. And you should be able to teach that to your kids, and whoever you place your kids with, you want to have like that same trust that they're going to honor the exact same thing that you would do. And that's genuinely how I feel, honestly. Yeah. So I guess me and Abby kind of like, we're like on 2 different pages that time. Let's go and read another one. So this is a different story. And it says, "Dear Abby, I divorced my cheating husband, but my mother keeps inviting him over to her in my dad's house. Not only does she invite him, she's now inviting one of the women he cheated on me with. She tries to justify it by saying she isn't going to keep him out of our daughter's life. Our daughter lives with my parents, but she's 23 years old. Am I wrong to be angry for telling my mom she was wrong for choosing him over me? Our daughter is an adult and can go visit her father. Cheated on again in Colorado." Whoa. There is so much to unpack here, and I genuinely fucking feel that way. Like, literally, from top to bottom, I feel like there's so much I want to preach and, like, praise her for and be like, yeah, your mom is dead ass wrong. But on the other side, like, the really, like, heavy, just unpacking side, it's like, somewhere in my twisted head, I can almost understand the grandma. Do we have time to unpack? Let's see here. So yeah, your mom's dead ass wrong. And I'm gonna say that because no matter what, like, it's just whether you choose to see how your mom is thinking right now, 5 years later, 30 years later, it's just not clicking right now for you. In some ways, you're still grieving the whole situation. So to kind of, like, flash forward and having, like, for your mom to be putting you in a position to where you kind of have to, like, speed up those emotions and just basically kind of just be okay with it, I feel like it's wrong on her part. Like, at the end of the day, like, I'm grown and I may live outside of the home, but, like, your home is it should be my peace. It should be my safe haven when I come to visit. And the last thing I want to do when I come visit my parents' home is to see my husband / child's father, in my parents' home. Like, that's genuinely how I feel. I don't know. I do feel like her mom was just, you have to give somebody that space. And unfortunately, it is kind of like, girl, like, I feel like your, what is the word? Loyalty belongs to me. I'm your kid, and I'm not ready for him to just be around, and I'm damn sure not ready for him to be around with other women too soon. Way too triggering. Like, why can't you understand that? And I feel like at minimum, a compromise should be, hey, daughter, if you're going to be coming over here, just know this is my household. I'm going to choose to invite whoever I want to, being your husband. But then on the flip side, hey, son-in-law, it should only ever be you and only you. Why are you ever even bringing another woman over here? Like, it's not that. Till she has a ring on it, the little girl shouldn't be over here. Not the little girl, but you understand what I'm saying. And that's just really how I feel. Now, going to unpacking, like, the mom's point of view, or, like, yeah, the mom's point of view, I just kind of feel like it just depends, like, how long were you and the dude married? Some people are, like, high school sweethearts, and to have a relationship like that where, like, you're married for then years and you have a family, like, I feel like it's really easy to, like, bleed into your in-laws. Like, you guys have that foundation in that relationship and the closeness where she could have just genuinely looked at him like a true son. And I could it's almost like the fucking, I don't know too much about, like, the Kardashians, right? But there's that one husband who lingered around for fucking years and years and years, even after him and, who is it? Courtney. After him and Courtney, split up, divorced and everything, he was still always around the fucking family. Whether it was scripted or not, I mean, that's beyond me. But, you see it, and you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody ever, like, really, they went through their problems and they checked him when they checked him, but, like, he was still family. And I don't know if this situation is like that, to where she's like, bro, like, why would I, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna, like, that's y'all, and it was fucked up, and we moved past that, but, like, I'm still gonna allow him to be over here. I'm hoping that in the best light possible, it's a situation similar to that, versus her mom just being, like, a horrible ass, toxic ass mom. Because if it is on those sorts of terms, that's that girl, maybe start inviting your mom out to lunch if you know you can't separate yourself from your mom. Maybe start seeing your daughter outside the home. And those circumstances really suck. Like, you should just be able to pop up at your mom's house and just be comfortable without having to worry about seeing somebody you're just simply not ready to be around, especially in that way. Like, at my mom's house, out of all people, like, running into my ex-husband at the grocery store is completely different than running into my mom while I'm on my way to the bathroom and he's coming out of the bathroom. Like, it's just like one of those things where it's just like, why am I around you right now? And I just genuinely feel like it's just short, simple, to the point, and really should just be understood like that. Like, I don't think you're tripping at all, and that's just really how I feel. Let's see what Abby said. Wait. So it says, Dear Cheated On, your mother entertains your husband and his lady friend because for whatever reason she can't let go of the relationship. Your feelings are justified. When the good Lord handed out mothers, he should have chosen a more supportive. Damn. Period though. This is why it's important for your emotional well-being that you move forward with your life. You can't control your mom, but you can control how much time you spend with her. Let's see. And that's pretty much all she said. And I'm surprised she just left it straight to the point like that. Like, girl, validate me a little more. I'm gonna need that. So hopefully, like, I already spoke on it too much. Like, too long, too much. I'm on to the next one. Let's go ahead and read the next one. So it starts off by saying, Dear Abby, our family does not have a relationship with my son. And then she quotes, his name is Josh. Okay. My sister occasionally asks me if I have heard from him, and when she does, she refers to him as your son, never by his name. I can't imagine myself referring to my niece as your daughter. I refer to her by her name. My sister is sensitive and doesn't take criticism well, so I don't know of a polite way to tell her how it offends me. It implies detachment, disinterest, and distance. And then it just goes into Abby's response. So I feel like I've been there with more sensitive individuals in my life, whether that be family or not, and I feel like I really have been trying to get better with kind of like meeting someone where they're at and almost like talking to them in a way that would make sense rather than speaking on something but only my feelings are pouring out through what I'm saying, because I feel like there's just, it's two different tones when you do it that way. Like, yeah, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Hopefully that makes sense. One thing I will say is, like, if your intentions are to maybe just say how you feel with the intent of her understanding and just being able to move forward, I feel like there's plenty of ways to say it, but I also don't want you to feel like you can't not express how you're feeling. Like, I don't think something like that should even be held on to, because nobody talking with your son, including you, I could imagine is already damaging to you as it is. So to hear little things like that, it's almost like sometimes it's just easier to not deal with something when it's just like not said, not heard. So when you go out of, like, when you're talking with your sister and like she goes out of ways to say like your son, I feel like it's highlighted and it's emphasis like that, like you already know where she's coming from in a place like that. You know what I'm saying? And I almost think in a sense it's like shady. So I just don't feel like that's just the best way to go about it. Like, I don't know. I could ramble and I'm trying not to, but I would say something like, hey sis, I would love to go out to lunch with you, this, that, and the third. Maybe even bring it up, bring him up, bring something up, and then just almost wait for you to hear it. Wait for her to say something in that effect of your son or something. And then just be like, hey, like, it just kind of bothers me when you say it like that. It just makes me really, really feel, and then mention how you feel, like, just bring it up, that it just triggers you in a way that you can't really explain, but like you would just really, really appreciate the support from your sister, from her. I would really appreciate the support if you just said his name. Like, he is your nephew, you know, he's still family. I get that we're disconnected, but I would just really, really, it would mean a lot more to me. It would get me out of my own head a lot more if you would just maybe not say things like your son. And that's just the best way I could kind of like give examples on what to say without flashing, because really I probably would have been like, why do you keep saying his name like that? Like, that's me. Like, first initial reaction, I probably would have wanted to say something like that. But again, you're not trying to add fire to fire. You're not trying to make it worse. You are trying to just, you know, it's just a simple point. Like, hey, can you maybe just not do such and such? And then explain why. Like, hey, it just triggers me. Versus being like, that's just how I would initially say it. Like, I'm not going to effing lie. Like, why are you doing that? Like, his name is such and such. Like, Maybe use his name. But I know that's not the goal here. I could tell by your entry, and I hope that something like that would help. Anyways, so I'm going to go on to the next one. So the next one is, Dear Abby. Here, hold on. Let me go ahead and hit my pen because this is ridiculous. So the next one says, Dear Abby, I got very sick in 2014 and spent 6 months in the hospital. I'm almost 100% recovered now, and I am grateful for all of those who supported me during this journey. Some family members helped out momentarily, some in large ways, others in small. I'm working part-time and feel I should pay them back. Although none of them have ever said a word about the money, what do you think? First and foremost, I would say to try to get your health as recovered as possible. For you to have been sick as long as you were sick, 6 months is a long time to be out of the hospital. I feel like I would just give yourself that time to handle what's already on your plate. Like, you going back into the world, working every day, maybe dealing, like, just being back in your home. That is an adjustment already. Just being placed from leaving the hospital to going back home. Already an adjustment, right? Then add people into that. Like, I don't know if you have kids or if you have a husband, a wife, things like that. Just getting back into that sort of lifestyle is another adjustment. Then going back into work or handing, just like those sorts of things. It's just like, handle what's already on your plate. Know that your friends, family, whatever, did those things out of help for you. If there wasn't a deadline on when to pay them back, if there wasn't a discussion that you had to pay them back, I would catch up on what you need right now and just get used to your life after leaving the hospital. And then when it's on your heart, I'm not going to sit there and say, don't pay them back. Like, oh no, F that girl, da, da. I would say 2 things. Be there for those people, or to continue to be there for those people who were there for you while you were down and out. When maybe next month, sometime soon, hopefully not, they'll be short on something, and then just maybe pay back in those ways. Maybe prepare dinner for them. Just do it in those ways that you can. Prepare dinner for them. Ask to walk their dog. Ask to babysit. Be able to do their hair. If you have it to start paying them back within, like, with money, do that as well. But I don't want that to be like your main focal of stress when you have so much more that you're still trying to reestablish for yourself. So yeah, we just give it time. But one of the things for me, especially, like, if I was given some money by my mom, right? In my head, I feel so guilty, like, oh my God, I have to pay that back. And it took a couple of conversations that I had with my friends. Like, around the time I hate to say it if my mom is watching this one, but my mom wanted up paying for my braces. I got like almost like Invisalign, and my mom paid for it. And then I felt like, I think the first arrangement was I was supposed to actually pay it back, but I think she wound up saying to not. Excuse me. And so for a while, I was like, oh my God, like, I still have to pay her back. And I was making payments and stuff, but, like, it was, like, stressful to feel like, oh my God, like, okay, like, this has to get done. And then one of my friends was just like, your mom is your mom. Like, she loves you. Like, he wasn't negative about it. Like, oh, girl, like, F that. Like, don't pay it back. Like, that's just your mom. Like, it's her responsibility. It wasn't coming from that sort of way, but it was just more of, like, sorry, I'm so stuffy. But it was more of coming from, like, your mom loves you, has the best intentions for you. I seriously doubt that she's, like, staying up day and night worried about you paying that back. I think that's more of where he was coming from with it. And it was just nice to hear and be reminded of, like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, so hopefully that helps. Do it with what you will. Definitely be supportive and pay back in which ways that you can when you can. But just don't add on the extra stress. That's what I would say. Let's say, and that's all. And then just overall be good to your people. Just make life easier on them, whether that be conversation or whatever. Just, yeah, come off like when somebody helps you, the biggest thing that they want to be like, okay, like, you're back on your shit. Like, if paying them back means getting a job, if paying them back means taking your medication, doing those sorts of things, just making them proud. Like, that's what I would suggest, but that's just me. Anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and read Abby's response. She said, talk to your relatives, tell them that although you are working only part-time now, at some point you would like to repay their generosity. Some of them may agree, others may refuse, but there is more than one way to repay a favor. Period. She said, bear that in mind should need of theirs comes to your attention that does not involve money. And another thought, if you haven't written these generous people Another thought, if you haven't written these generous people thanking them for their help, basically like you should consider it. So I like that. I didn't even think something as simple as a note. She is completely forking right. Like, I love that. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and possibly pause there and then just go ahead and jump into the podcast. I really like doing those. Just because I like it. So let me know what you think. And let me know what you would do, whether that be the person in the situation or the person giving advice. Like, I'm interested to know. But without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and jump into the rest of the podcast, like I said. So you guys, it is nighttime. You'll be seeing this the day of like my posting, obviously, but I'm filming this at night. And I don't know if you could hear it in my voice or see it on my face, but girl, I am exhausted. I'm like super stuffy. I don't know, like my energy is like kind of not low in like a annoyed or upset sort of way, but I just feel like tired. I kind of have like, and then I feel like my voice is kind of going in and out a little bit as well. But I kind of had like a very busy week. So there was that. Work week was kind of crazy. And then I just had some like personal things going on. This weekend was really, really nice. I'm trying to think. So my boyfriend and I spent Thursday, Friday, and Saturday together. And then today, which is Sunday, I was able to hang out with my friend Taylor. That was nice. We had some stuff going on. So I don't know. I just feel like just like not having that moment to just like, and I'm not complaining. I'm just saying like just kind of expressing. I feel like that time of just like alone was not this weekend. I just feel like I was just like go, 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 which was fine. Like it was nice. It was nice doing what I did. So I just feel like right now I'm just like after filming this with you guys, I just want to take a shower, wash my hair. I feel disgusting. And then just kind of chill for the rest of the night. But yeah, this is what I mean when I said I'm not going to like plan or write anything, because I really have nothing to say right now. I feel like it's almost like I have so much to say that I have nothing to say. One update that I wanted to discuss with you guys is the packages for Moody Booty Podcast should actually be coming in this week, like day by day though. So that kind of sucks, but I'm excited for that so much soon. Like, I don't want to say too much because I just kind of want it to, like, okay, I'll say it. Soon, like, my background will be different. Soon, my background will be different. And then I know that in my first podcast, I think it was, I said that my first guest should be on this, like, the podcast between, like, episode 3 or 4. Scratch what I said. Completely scratch what I said, because that is so not true. I would say a couple more weeks, and then we're gonna pop out with that guest. But I only speak on that because the stuff that's supposed to be coming in, I could actually start putting together my Moody bag. So things are coming along. And then on my last episode, I mentioned that I really wanted to be able to put together some kind of like some testing episodes where I have guests on the show who are through webcam. I really don't know how I'm going to execute that. I have some ideas. But anyways, I mentioned that in my last episode, and my good friend Joyce commented and was just like, hey, I really would love to try that with you. So there's that. I'm excited. I would love that. I would love that. One thing about my guests is I almost don't want to speak too much with you guys about like my plans, because sometimes like an idea will come, but then like maybe that idea is like placed in your pocket, but like it's not even acknowledged for like a couple of months. So I don't want to say something you guys be like, oh, okay, like that's happening. You said it. But basically I really would like to see maybe like one guest a month, maybe every 2. We'll see. yeah, and I only mention that because I reached out to a couple of people like, hey, like I would love for you to be like on the podcast, da da da, but I don't want it to come off like, oh, like it's supposed to be next week. Like I want to be able to space it out. So, anyways, it is hot in here. I'm not even gonna effing lie. It's hot. I have something exciting that I want to talk with you guys about and let me know what you think of this opportunity situation. So, I actually am stuffy, like, out of nowhere. I think it's the spot. Like, I may need a dust or something because, like, out of nowhere, literally. So, earlier today, I got a message. It was an invite to be a model on this, like, runway show. And I was telling one of my friends about it, and she was like, girl, you better do it. And I don't know. I'm a little nervous. Like, I think it's like a great opportunity, and hopefully I can talk myself into doing something like that because that sounds really fun. But I'm nervous. I was telling like the same friend that I was talking to, I was like, girl, like when I get nervous, like especially if I'm walking, I just forget how to walk. I may walk crooked, I may trip, like it's a whole thing. And she was like, girl, and if you fall, like, I'm gonna laugh, but you know, I'm gonna still cheer you on, and you're gonna get right back up. And so I was like, you're so annoying. But, yeah, that's, like, something that happened today that I was, like, thinking about, and I was talking with the lady about, and I was just like, oh, so, like, I would love to hear more about it. Like, is it plus-size friendly? Things like that. She's like, oh, yeah, we definitely support our plus-size girlies. So that was cool. And then I was saying, just asking really little detail, because she said that it was still being, in the works as far as like location, time, and stuff like that. But they're more so just working on pulling people in right now. And what else did she say? Oh, so I asked her. What did I ask her? So tired. I asked her basically are clothes being supplied, like, and so she ended up saying yes. She's like, yeah, there'll be designers in the show as well, and basically you'll be wearing their clothes. So it was exciting. It was exciting to be reached out to and kind of like be considered in something like that. So I'll definitely try to keep you guys in the loop. And look out for a future. I'm to the point where I'm combining all my words, and low key my tongue piercing makes that like harder as hell because it's just the whole thing. But what was I trying to say? Oh, I was saying keep a lookout for a future podcast episode, hopefully. And maybe there'll be one coming out of my experience on the runway show. So, yeah. Anyways, let's see here. I feel like there was more that I wanted to talk with you guys about. Oh, first of all, side note, I feel like it's not like the light is giving my hair way too much justice. I need to re-dye this bitch, like, immediately. Don't even pay attention. This light is adding so much more color and pigment to what this really looks like. It's faded for real. So I need to go ahead and do that. And, yeah, your girl's breaking out a little bit, too, which I don't like. I was gonna, like, I don't know where I'm going with this, so I feel like I don't even want to share that part yet. What I will say is, I love supportive friends. I love loving friends. I love uplifting friends. More meaning, I love having friends who uplift. I love having supportive friends. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I have so much support in my corner. And I know that's really, really broad, but like, I just love the love is what I'm going to say, and I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. There was so much more I feel like I wanted to touch on when I started filming today's video or podcast, but I'm just like lost right now. Like, I don't even know. And then other things is like, there's ideas that I want to share with you guys, and for the most part I feel like I've been doing a good job. Oh, sorry, did I have that way too far? Hopefully I didn't. There's ideas that I feel like I was sharing with you guys that I'll still continue to share with you guys, but like there's also just like upcoming projects that I almost just want to like hurry up and put in motion so I could just show you when it's happening, rather than being like, oh yes, like I was thinking of doing this. It's just like, okay, like let's see it, you know. So I don't know, I think I'm gonna keep that to myself too, but it will come very soon, actually. And right now I just genuinely feel like I'm exhausted, and I would hate to cut this as short as it is, but I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. It's Sunday. I want to leave. Like, I honestly just want to stop filming right now, and I want to take a shower and do my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, my friend wants me to go with like right now. Like, I feel like I can't talk. I have to clock in on time to work tomorrow. And when I say on time, I mean a couple hours early, because we have this flex time thing where you can clock in around like a specific period whenever you want to, but then you kind of have to just make sure you still get your 8 hours in. And so normally I'm good for clocking at like 7:30. But basically my friend wants to be able to go to the gym tomorrow at a better time for her, so she wants me to clock in at 6. So that's also another reason why I just want to hurry up, start my night, get my shower done, skincare, get something to eat, and still have time to relax. So I'm gonna go ahead and go. It was nice chatting. Happy Monday. Hope you have a great day. And if you are new, again, thank you for popping in. If you're returning, thank you for popping in continuously. Like, I fought with you the long way. Like, for real though. I am. But I wanted to end off by saying, like I've been doing at the end of my podcast, which I low-key want to start changing up and just kind of like plant them anywhere in the video, so you just don't know like when it's happening. But go ahead, shoot me a DM on Instagram at LASIAALU, and go ahead and send me an audio message saying, I just watched Moody Booty Podcast, to be featured in the next episode or future episodes of Moody Booty. And to add on to that, you obviously could just say anything in your audio message. Make it funny, make it cute, make it original. And yeah, I'll go ahead and leave you guys to the rest of your day or night, and I'll see you guys in the next podcast episode.